What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so the more we go forward into this Epstein saga, let's just call it Epsteingate at this point, because we're getting there. We're getting there. This may be what brings down the so-called Teflon Don. Because now his base, it's not just a fragment of his base, a large segment of his base is turning on him. Let me give you my opinion on why I think that is. Okay? At least one of the main reasons why I think that is. So, we all know that Americans, left and right, are tired of the excesses when it comes to government, obviously, but also we're tired of the corruption. We're tired of all of this scandal, this filth. A lot of people supported Donald Trump under the assumption that yes, he's flawed. Yes, he curses and bloviates and has a lot of aggravating aspects to his personality. But in general, they supported him, especially this time, because we've talked about the corruption of the Biden administration. To me, Joe Biden belongs in prison, as does Bill Clinton. I've told you I think George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are war criminals. Barack Obama is no saint. Barack Obama committed war crimes. So, you know what I'm saying? I keep it even on both sides. But what Donald Trump and the Republicans, well, really, his at this point, the Republican Party as we used to know it doesn't exist. It's really literally just Donald Trump and his legion of, foot soldiers at this point, right? They're trying to subvert democracy at this point. So the Republican-controlled Congress has adjourned about a week early, and Speaker Mike Johnson pretty much let it be known that they adjourned early because they're trying to block a vote that would call for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. So that would be something historic if there was an actual vote that called for the release of Epstein files. That would seem like if the White House defied that would be a tremendous conflict of. See, it's one thing when it's just babble and in the confines of, the blogospheres and on television in the media. But once you have an actual official vote from Congress, and I would assume at this point it'd be a bipartisan vote, then if Trump and the White House defied that, then that's grounds to really start to suspect that they're trying to cover something up. And then that's when, because at that point in time, for that to be a vote of yes, that would mean that many Republicans will be dissenting from Trump. And that, my friends, will be different from what we've had in the past, when there was a solidified Republican Party behind Trump when it comes to the past two situations where he was impeached. That would spell the danger of him actually being removed from office. So they're shutting down early because, yes, there's always a recess in August, but they're doing it early because they're trying to avoid a vote, and they want to hope and pray by September when they re-adjourn in Congress that we've moved on to other things. I don't think this is going anywhere. And as I was alluding to earlier, a lot of this is Donald Trump's fault. A lot of this is his fault, and I'll tell you why I think. For years, they have catered to conspiracy theories. Some of them ridiculous, and it's come back to haunt them. Whether you're talking about the conspiracy theory of Barack Obama not being born in America, or the conspiracy theories of, which I think have some legs as far as Biden's corruption, Obama's corruption, but the excesses of these conspiracies, and I'm talking about even the little ones, like Michelle is a man and Barack Obama is, those aren't really Michelle's kids, and all these ridiculous conspiracy theories over the past decade since he's come to power, Donald Trump, right? You know what I'm talking about. That every bad thing that happens in Washington is the Democrats are behind, right? So he's created this legion of supporters who are obsessed with conspiracies. And you have this guy, Trump, who's going to clean up everything. You had Doge with Elon Musk, we're going to clean up everything. And then all of a sudden, with the biggest conspiracy, if you want to call it that, Epstein unalives himself. And remember, all those Trump supporters, when Biden was in the White House, saying, oh, the Democrats, they were behind it. Bill Clinton was behind it. And Trump egging it on, especially when he was running for re-election this past year, excuse me. Saying he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to expose all these weirdos because they, in their mind, thinking, oh, well, they're all Democrats. Or rhinos that they don't care about. As recently as 2 weeks ago, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, the United States Attorney General, said that list was on her desk, ready to be released to the public. And ever since then, it's been hindrances and obfuscations. They won't reveal anything. Now, all of a sudden, not only did he say there's nothing there, he insulted the very base that helped to elect him and put him in power. To the point now where he has people like Nick Fuentes turning against him. Nick Fuentes, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. This is mutiny. Many of his supporters have turned on him. And it's not going anywhere. Because these people are frantic. They're disassociating. Now, you're going to have those same people who've always supported him. That's just how that is. There's always going to be some people who, no matter what, sometimes it's maybe because they don't have anywhere else to go. They're programmed to be like that, subservient. They're going to support. By the way, I got to say this before I go forward. What the fuck is up with some of these content creators, man? I told you guys they were going to do this. All these content creators who all of a sudden now, because of the Epstein debacle, right? And by the way, if I see that the Department of Justice is supposed to be talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, I hope, first of all, I hope she doesn't all of a sudden unalives herself or just drops dead for some reason. Secondly, if all of a sudden she starts talking nice about Trump and changing her tune, then we'll know what's what. You'll know that they threatened the hell out of her and she feared for her life, and she's saying, well, what the fuck they want her to say. So that, prepare for that possibility. But all of you content creators all of a sudden talk about Barack Obama and him being gay or possibly gay and Michelle Obama. Why are you talking about this nonsensical, unimportant gobbledygook when we have something that is going on that's bigger than Donald Trump, something that is seismic, something that would be the equivalency of the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs, if it was released, a million, with 10 million nuclear bombs barely being contained by the White House. But you rather talk about, you idiots, Barack Obama. This deflection at its worst. YouTube was supposed to be the alternative to the corrupt mainstream media. And YouTube has become totally corrupted. You can't, there's no independent investigative journalism out here anymore. People that want the truth. Everybody's trying to just jig for bucks, jig for dollars. That's it. Or jig for gigs. That's it. It's bullshit. Richard Milhouse Nixon resigned from the White House in August of 1974, essentially for obstructing justice, which was proven on the smoking gun tape that was revealed, I think a couple weeks before he actually resigned. When on tape, it was proven that he had his subordinates order the FBI to stop investigating into certain areas, which would prove embarrassing and detrimental to the White House, who was trying to create a cover-up. That proved the cover-up. That proved that Nixon knew before he said he didn't know. Proved that he knew before he said he didn't know anything about it, and he had to resign. But essentially, Watergate was a victimless crime. Nobody died. Nobody gained anything in a pecuniary manner, meaning nobody actually got any money, right? So, what do you think this is? Where the president of the United States, although we focus on him, he's just one of potential hundreds of the wealthiest people, the most powerful people in the world who preyed on children. I can't do this by myself. I need content creators to come out and talk about this. But, let's be honest, a lot of people are cowards. They don't want to talk about this. They want to talk about something safe, like, black people. Let's be honest. But I have to talk about this. Because I believe in the American system. And what we have fallen to, we need a new revolution. And we got to get rid of all of this corruption, man. Get rid of these despicable miscreants who are representing a poor job of representing us in Washington. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace what's going on. Because I said before my other video, I'm going to end it on this. If Donald Trump was so clean, and if it was only Democrats on the list, like some of his idiotic supporters like to say, he would have been released that. It's in his nature, too. Especially the witch hunt that the Democrats have led against him over the past 4 years. Of course he would have released that. He's not releasing it because he's on that list. And people that he know are on that list. And to be honest with you, there are other people in power on the left who are on that list too, who don't want that list released. It's going to take bravery. It really is. It's going to take bravery. The bravery of the young men who fought in World War II, not knowing the fate of the world. That's why I have so much reverence for the early generation of the NBA. People are, oh, these guys aren't skilled. Oh, they look how unskilled they are. Well, first of all, it wasn't money in athletics back then. People weren't, you know, great athletes weren't training to be basketball players. If anything, great athletes were trained to be in Olympic runners. Because if anything, there was really not much money in sports, but whatever little notoriety you got in sports was the Olympics. People weren't playing basketball because they're great athletes back then. They played it because, that was a sport they liked. And excuse them if they didn't have the exceptional skills that players today have, because, a couple years earlier, they were fighting to save the world. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.